I'm April Plank, and in today's video I'm going to take you through a little bit of the details on the reformer. So if you are new to reformer, this is your first time using it, or if you just want a little refresher, this is a great video for you to be watching. So we're going to start with the footbar. Now my reformer is a balanced body studio reformer with the infinity footbar. So yours may be a little bit different, but all reformers should have a footbar, and the footbar should be able to move. So my reformer can be in what I call mid position. I can bring the reformer up to a high position, and I can take it down kind of to a low or even lower, or all the way out of the way. So those are the ways in which my footbar can move. And we'll need the footbar in different positions based on what exercises we are going to be doing. So I'm going to take my footbar and put it right back up to mid position and leave it there for right now. Now the second part that I'm going to show you are the springs. Okay, so on your reformer you should have a number of springs. Some reformers will have 4, some will have 3. Some reformers might just have pulleys instead of, or little bungees instead of springs. So on this balanced body reformer, we've got a red spring, and that would be counted as 1, or a heavy. You've got a blue spring, and that would be considered a 1/2, or a medium. And then you have a yellow, which would be considered a 4th, and that's a light. So if a red is 1, a blue is half the weight of a red, and a yellow is a 4th of the weight of red. Now on this machine, I can either have my spring at the bottom, which is where we typically would put it, or if I want things maybe a little bit harder, but I'm not ready to go up to the next spring weight, I can take it on this groove up on top. And that's usually called the high position, or I call that the high position in my videos. So I'm going to take it back to the low position. Now if I pan out a little bit, this is your gear bar, and the gear bar can also move. So I'm going to take all the springs off, and I can take my gear bar, based on the gear bar you have, you should be able to move it closer to your carriage or closer to the footbar. So mine, I can move it farther away, and I might want to do that if, for example, I've got someone who is taller, and then I can also move my gear bar all the way in, and that's actually where I put my gear bar when I'm teaching a jumping class. So when I do jumping, I usually have my gear bar in position 1, and then when I'm doing my regular reformer classes, I have my gear bar in position 2. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. The next part of the reformer is the actual carriage. Now the carriage is on wheels, and it's going to slide out the kind of the bed of the reformer. So if I have very light weight, or say I have no weight, it slides out and it doesn't come back. So then when I put on a little bit of weight, so say I put on a yellow weight, it slides out pretty easy. And then if I put on a red, it's going to come out harder. So based on whatever exercises we're doing, usually if we're pushing the carriage with our legs, we're going to be at a heavier weight. If we're pushing the carriage with our arms, we're going to be at a lighter weight. Now a heavy weight doesn't necessarily mean that it's harder. For some exercises, for example planks, the heavier weight is giving you more stability, and it's going to make it easier. So sometimes we take the weight down very light, and that is actually going to be a harder thing to do than keeping the weight heavy. And I usually explain those through the exercises. Moving up, we have the shoulder blocks, and on my reformer, the shoulder blocks can come off. Some reformers, that might not be an option. So your shoulder blocks are pretty much where you're going to have your shoulders against when you're laying down. And then we have the headrest, and based on your reformer, you might have some options. So my headrest is going to be either down, or it's a little bit like a little beach chair. I can take it up to a medium position. I can take it up to a high position. And you're going to choose your head position based on what's comfortable for your neck. If you tend to be a little bit rounded over, then having your head back is going to put your neck on a bad alignment, and you're probably going to feel better with it high. You'll be able to tell, and I would just test out both positions, or all 3 positions, and see what works best for you. Now having said that, when we are bridging, or anytime you lift your hips up, you want to have your headrest down. That way you have enough space for your neck when you lift your hips. And then the last thing are the straps. I have like a long loop and a small loop. So that's basically, if I want to make things harder, I'm going to grab the little loop. And if I want to make things easier, I'm going to grab the big loop. Now, the loops are connected to our straps. And your straps, you can change the length of your straps. So right now, the way I like to keep my reformers is that they will sit very comfortably on the pegs. I know some studios will have the straps longer, so I can actually take this strap and lengthen it out, and then I can have the strap around the shoulder block. Just know that if you keep your straps a little longer, if you're doing my videos, things are going to be easier for you. I like to keep my straps a little tighter, and that means that there's more resistance on the straps. So if I'm doing something, say on a blue spring, and you have longer straps, it's going to not feel as much work for you. So you may want to add weight, or you may want to just change your straps and make them shorter. So the final thing we'll talk about is with the gear bar and the foot bar, why would you need to be putting it up or down, or the gear bar out or in? And it's really based on your body position. So when we are laying down, so when you're going into, say, your footwork and you're laying down, you want to have a 90-degree bend from the hips, knees, and ankles. So as you can see right now, I probably have my knees a little bit closer in to me than I would like for them to be. I want to be kind of right out here. So here are my choices. I can, option one, lower my foot bar. So I'm going to lower the foot bar and show you what that looks like. Now with my foot bar lowered, you can see I have a little bit better angle at my knee so that when I come in, I'm not going past the 90-degree. So that's a choice, because some of you may not have a gear bar that moves too much. But my gear bar can change, so I can also move my gear bar out and keep my foot bar up. And let's see what happens with that. So if I move my gear bar out and I do the same thing, notice the change here. So I'm a little bit more at 90 degrees, and that's where we're going to be for our footwork. So I would just recommend to you to play around and make sure that the positions that you're choosing on your reformer meet your needs, feel comfortable for your body, and just know if it doesn't feel comfortable, you can always change and kind of play around with things until they do feel comfortable. If you have any other questions, please let me know, and I will hopefully answer any questions that you have that maybe I didn't address in this video. Thanks, and have a great day.